Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, football pundits around the world, it's your boy Adam here live on Couch Sports Football, and we have League Cup football tonight. It's going to be an interesting one. Let's be honest about that. La 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 la. Da, 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 da. Hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude, come out! We got Chelsea taking on Manchester City in this 8 o'clock League Cup kickoff. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a fan of the League Cup, but when you have City and Chelsea taking on each other, you have to get them on screen. So we're gonna have a look at them tonight. There's gonna be a team. The team news is definitely one to keep an eye on. Obviously, there's a few announcements being made with World Cup squads. England's will be tomorrow, so we'll talk about that when Manchester United take on Aston Villa tomorrow. Obviously, Manchester United lost 3-1 to Aston Villa um, on the weekend. Can Manchester United turn that around in the League Cup and get themselves back to winning games? No defeats in 9. And then they go ahead and lose 3-1 to a Unai Emery side, who'd be very happy after what he saw in the first game under his leadership. Obviously, he was disrespected, I would say. I think that's the word you can use. He was disrespected when he was at Arsenal for the way that he talked, for the way that he was. Wasn't given the time there. The players definitely didn't give him the time. And then obviously they got rid, and we know what happened after that. Let me see. No, it's not gonna go this way. But yeah, so we have League Cup football coming up for you today. Manchester City taking on Chelsea. Manchester City, obviously, the I think Liverpool have won 9. I think Manchester City have won the remainder. Let me just see. League Cup winners. So the EFL English Football League Cup. Uh, so Liverpool have won 9. Manchester City have won 8. And have been runners up once. Wow. So they've won all but one of the ones that they've reached the final for. Um, Aston Villa with 5, Chelsea with 5, Manchester United with 5, Tottenham and Nottingham Forest with 4, Leicester with 3, Arsenal with 2, Norwich City, Birmingham City, and Wolverhampton with 2, West Bromwich Albion, Middlesbrough, Queen's Park Rangers, Leeds United, Stoke City, Luton Town, back in 1987, 1988. Sheffield Wednesday, Swindon Town, Oxford United, Blackburn Rovers, and Swansea City, all with um, a single title honor in their name. But the big one is the fact that Liverpool have won it 9 times, have been runners up 4 times. So they've been in the final 13 times. Manchester City winners on 8 occasions out of 9. That's insane to think about. Uh, but Steve, there we go. So we got 2 huge Carabao Cup games. Manchester City taking on Chelsea today, and Manchester United taking on Aston Villa tomorrow. So that's another 8 o'clock kickoff, guys. Just so you know, these have to go to penalties. These have to end tonight. They have to go to penalties. As it stands so far in the League Cup today, Arsenal versus Brighton 0-0 in that fixture. Um, Blackburn Rovers are winning West Ham 1-0. So we just spoke about Blackburn Rovers winning 1 League Cup um, in their history. But Blackburn Rovers are winning 1-0 against West Ham. So that's a bit interesting there. There's games going on interesting there. Liverpool making 11 changes against Derby. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. The players are getting ready to come out here on Couch Sports Football. How are we all doing in the chat? Are we ready for this one? Will this be better if I put it here? Will it be better if I put it there? Is it better? Is it better? it better there? Let's see. Is it better there? I don't think it really matters, to be fair. Let's see. Is it better there? Ba 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 ba. Is it better there? There's gonna be a shadow, but it is what it is. Um, unless I put it here. Unless I put it here. Behind me? No, that's behind me. That ain't good. That ain't good. That ain't good. Maybe. Um, no, I'll just put it back here, and we'll just deal with the shadow. We'll just deal with the shadow. But yeah, here we go, guys. Manchester City taking on Chelsea. They were in the final. So the one that they lost was the one where um, Raheem Sterling was part of that squad when Manchester City beat Chelsea on the penalty shootout. So just waiting for the players to come out. No N'Golo Conte and no Paul Pogba in the French team. That's something that needs to be kept an eye on. How are they going to line up in the middle of the field? We'll have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, football pundits around the world, how are we doing? How are we doing? Let's put that. Wait 1 second. Let's put. There we go. Let's put it like that. See, we don't need this one. There we go. Right, let's leave it like that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, football pundits around the world, how are we doing? We have League Cup action for you guys. Look at that starry night over at Manchester. Last 8 meetings in all competitions. Manchester City 1-0 back in January. 1, 2, 3, 4 victories, and I think it's 4-4. So it's 4-4 in terms of last 8 meetings. So it's been a close tie. This the Etihad Stadium. I've never seen it like this. Obviously, we don't see a lot of evening games over at the Etihad, but they're going 8 times. They've won the trophy for the 4th season in a row. Have gone to Wembley and won the Carabao Cup. Can they go on and win it again? They're gonna play Chelsea today, so that's a big one. The City fans are singing away. A picture of a globe up there. God knows what that's for. No Mason Mount in the team today. He's gone for Ziyech, Armando Broja, and Pulisic up front. They've turned the lights back on now. The players are ready. The fans are ready. Are you ready at home? Let me know in the chat. And let's talk some football. Chelsea taking on Manchester City at the Etihad. A few youngsters on shore today. The question is, what kind of a performance will we see? Manchester City have scored 3+ goals in 8 games this season. Eight games out of 15, they've scored 3 or more goals. One of the biggest profile games of this League Cup. The players line up for Manchester City and Chelsea. Who comes out on top here on Cal Sports Football? Let's give you the team news for Chelsea. So they've gone for Ortega in goal. Luis, Ruben Diaz, Laporte, and Gomez make the back four. Palmer, Rodri, and Gundogan in the three with Mahrez, Alvarez, and Grealish. That's Rico Lewis, who scored in his debut on the Champions League last week. He makes his way into the side for Chelsea. They've gone stronger, a lot stronger. Probably 2 of the players aren't starters. Mendy, Chalobah, Koulibaly, Cucurella, Loftus-Cheek, Kovacic, Zakaria, Hall, Ziyech, Broja, and Pulisic. So Zakaria and Hall making their way. Rico Lewis there with a smile. Match starts versus Sevilla. He was the one that scored the goal. He was the one that got the dribble. Armando Broja has a big opportunity to get himself back into the Chelsea team. You thought his performances for Southampton were going to be good enough, but they don't really, they haven't mounted anything for Chelsea. He's been a bit part player coming on as a sub. No Raheem Sterling, no Thiago Silva, no Kai Havertz, no Mason Mount, no Azpilicueta in the starting lineup. Pep Guardiola there, ready to go. Gundogan and Kovacic, the captains today. Question is, who comes out on top here? So it looks like Manchester City are going to shoot it from left to right, and Chelsea are shooting from right to left. And it's Graham Potter. It's getting a bit nervy for him at Chelsea. He's come in after a big move away from Brighton, and I feel like he's still managing Chelsea like he's managing Brighton. It's a bit confusing in terms of what he wants to do. Determined to play Cucurella as centre back with Loftus-Cheek wing back. But we'll have to wait and see as Chelsea play here at the Etihad. Manchester City shooting from left to right in their sky blue kit. Chelsea in their darker blue kit shooting from right to left. And here we go with Ruben Diaz on the ball. Into Gundogan, back to Diaz, and he lays it into Laporte, and it's Laporte now bringing it forward, threads it into Gundogan on the halfway line, lays it into Grealish, and he's got Gomez down that left-hand side. He goes into it. Gomez tries to find the return pass to Grealish. Grealish first time into the box, but it comes off Chalobah, and it goes out for a corner on that left-hand side. Chalobah losing his first Premier League game against Arsenal last week. I think that's given offside. Jack Grealish, captain Aston Villa in the 2020 League Cup final. Here we go with Chelsea starting the game back off with Edouard Mendy, who lost his place in the side through injury and then didn't manage to get it back. Kepa Arrizabalaga had a very good time in goal. Mendy with a long kick over the top. Ziyech there to flick it onto was Loftus-Cheek to flick it onto Ziyech. Tries the first time out to the left-hand side, but it's blocked and it comes out to Cucurella. And it's Cucurella now into Hall. Kovacic to Cucurella on the halfway line, forced backwards by Riyad Mahrez, who hasn't Riyad Mahrez hasn't featured a lot for Manchester City, and that was a mistake there at the back by Edouard Mendy. Koulibaly with a pass back to Mendy, and Mendy just too long on the ball, and it allows Alvarez to get a block in there, but it goes out for a goal kick. Now that's going to give confidence to Alvarez that he might be able to nip something. Koulibaly with a long ball out to the right side towards Loftus-Cheek. He tries to flick it onto Broja, but he's offside. And Manchester City will start to get back off here on this left-hand side. Rodri back to Gundogan on this left-hand side. Gundogan now on the centre circle, lays it into Diaz. Pulisic goes over to press and he threads it into Palmer. Mahrez to Rodri, and it goes all the way back to Diaz, and Diaz now on the ball. Out wide here towards Rico Lewis. Diaz, can Manchester City unearth another champ? Palmer and Lewis in the side. Ortega in goal. Rodri now with the ball. To Lewis, all the way back to Diaz. City just holding the ball here, not forcing the ball forward, moving it around. You can see the the trapezium, should I say, of 5 players for Chelsea. Ziyech, Broja, and Pulisic trying to press the high line. Diaz now with the ball on this left-hand side, out to the right side to the young lad Rico Lewis. Threads it into Riyad Mahrez. Cucurella's all over him. Lewis tries to win it back. It falls to Mahrez, who runs away from Pulisic and he lays it into Grealish on the centre circle, who's got Gomez to his left. Alvarez is on the back of Koulibaly. Grealish goes on his own, tries to take a shot, but it's blocked. Gomez with a cross towards that back post is going to fall to Hall. Can he stop it from going out for a corner? No, he can't. It goes out for a corner down the right side. Jack Grealish doing wonderfully well. Oh shit. Jack Grealish doing wonderfully well to drag the defenders. Here we go with Riyad Mahrez on the shine side to start the game off from the corner. Chelsea nil, Manchester City nil here at the Etihad. Grealish and Mahrez stepping over this. Is it going to be the left foot of Mahrez or the right foot of Grealish? Let's find out. 4 minutes into the game, can Manchester City go a goal up here? Ball put in there by Mahrez, but it's over. Everyone is headed away. Loftus-Cheek will try and keep it alive, but Chalobah is there and he'll just clear it down the line. Rico Lewis will let that go out for a throwing, and it's Manchester City now to start the game back off here. With Rico Lewis, sorry. Quickly into Ortega and his Gundogan now with the ball. Gundogan out to the shine side towards Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez holding on to it. Back to Diaz. Diaz now on this left-hand side. Bringing it forward. Out to Rico Lewis. Pulisic comes over to defend. He lays it into Mahrez. Mahrez 1-on-1 against Hall. Lays it into Palmer. Palmer has Cucurella defending. Palmer 1-on-1 against him. Goes around the left-hand side. Holds onto the ball beautifully. Keeps it in play. Lays it into Rico Lewis. Lewis now with the ball into Gundogan. Turns. Kovacic nearly took it off him. It falls to Palmer. Gets away from Zakaria. Lays it into Mahrez. Mahrez into Grealish. Grealish on his right foot. Tries to put it in behind to Gomez. First time across the 6-yard box. No one's there. And it goes out for a goal kick. And Pep Guardiola will be happy with the way these youngsters have come alive for Manchester City. Palmer, Rico Lewis and Gomez not afraid to move the ball forward. Grealish there with a cute pass into in behind. Chalobah couldn't get there. Koulibaly couldn't clear it. And it goes out for a corner down the right side. Mahrez now to take the corner towards that back post. Headed away by Koulibaly. Pulisic will try and flick it on, and it goes out for a Manchester City throwing down that left-hand side. Gomez short to Alvarez. Tries to feed it into Rodri, but Armando Broja's there. He tries to feed it into Ziyech, but it's intercepted. Alvarez there. Brought down. Game carries on with Koulibaly. Into Armando Broja. Out wide there towards Loftus-Cheek. Being surrounded by Manchester City players. Pull, and it goes out for a City throwing. Grealish into Gundogan. Back to Grealish. Goes backwards to Gomez on the halfway line. The Manchester City might be without some star players, but they're still moving it about like they always do. Here we go with Rodri now. Tries to feed it into Rico Lewis, but it goes out for a throwing. For Chelsea, hold that, forcing the error. 7 minutes into the game. Cucurella. Broja wins the ball back, gets away from the ball, takes a shot from distance, and it goes out for a goal kick. Maybe he should have done better there. Armando Broja maybe could have threaded it into Loftus-Cheek or Ziyech down the right side, but decided to go on his own. Obviously needs to try and make a mark if he wants to get himself into this team. Ortega with a ball through, headed away by Cucurella, and it's a handball, and it's Manchester City have given away a free kick in their own half. Koulibaly now, back to Cucurella. Into Koulibaly on the right side. He's been out injured for a couple of weeks. Tries to switch it out wide there towards Loftus-Cheek. But Loftus-Cheek isn't as fast as he thinks he might be. And it goes out for Ortega on this left-hand side. Laporte manages to flick it into Grealish. Grealish now Laporte bringing it forward. He's got Palmer alongside him. Grealish goes on his own on the edge of the box. There, Gomez ahead of him. Gomez on his left foot takes the shot and is blocked by Koulibaly. And it goes out for a corner. Alvarez there on that left-hand side trying to create something. But it was pushed back into their own penalty box. And they decided to hold on to it. Goes out for a corner on that left-hand side, 9 minutes into the game. Grealish takes the corner, headed away. It's going to come out to Rico Lewis, out to Mahrez. Mahrez on his right foot, crosses it in there, and it falls to Diaz, and Diaz takes a shot, but it's blocked. It comes out to Grealish. Grealish has Gomez taking over that pin shot, and he takes a shot, it's wide. Jack Grealish there, lines one up from distance. Cucurella just sticks a foot out, it falls to Grealish. No one's applying the pressure, and he just can't get the accuracy on the near post. And it goes out for a goal kick on the right side. Pep Guardiola happy with his Manchester City team 10 minutes into the game. Ortega, now the ball here for Manchester City. Out to Diaz down this left-hand side. Diaz into Laporte. Aymeric Laporte into Gomez on the left-hand side. Backwards to Gundogan. Gundogan holding it up here. Lays it into Laporte. Laporte into Diaz. Diaz out to this right left-hand side. Finds Rico Lewis. Lewis over the top there. Alvarez couldn't get there. He's going to come all the way back to Mendy, and he feeds it into Koulibaly. First time into Kovacic. Kovacic being harassed by Palmer. Goes backwards to Mendy. Mendy will clear it down the line. He slips, but he manages to get the clearance. Gomez loses a header to Loftus-Cheek. Broja flicks it onto Ziyech, and he finds the pass to Loftus-Cheek. Back to Ziyech on that left-hand side. First time in towards Pulisic, but it's blocked by the Manchester City defender, and it goes out for a throwing on that right-hand side. Loftus-Cheek first time into Chalobah. Here we go with Koulibaly. Out to that right side, Loftus-Cheek, who brings it under control here for Chelsea in the Manchester City half. Dennis Zakaria can't get into the game. Chalobah goes all the way back. Tom Gregg there. What's all that about, Tom? Do I have to sort you out, Tom? Do I have to sort you out? Here we go with Hall does well to get away from Alvarez, but he's brought down. It's a free kick, and the young lad Hall has done well here so far. How are we all doing in the chat? Where are we all from, and who do we support? Are we Chelsea fans? Are we Manchester City fans? Or are we just fans of football? Mendy is too focused on them. That's why he's playing bad. Tom Greggs, you're walking a fine line, young man. None of this. We don't need any of that. Hold now the ball into Cucurella. Cucurella holding on to it. Who do you support, Tom? Are you a Chelsea fan? Are you a City fan? Let me know. Here we go with Chalobah on the ball. Lays it out to Loftus-Cheek down the right side. Tries to feed it into Ziyech, but it's blocked. Loftus-Cheek does well to hold on to the ball, and he lays it into Ziyech. Ziyech now one-on-one against Gomez. Tries to put it across the middle. Pulisic there with a shot. And it's saved there by the keeper, Ortega. And it goes out for a corner, and Pulisic there with a great opportunity on the penalty spot. I'm a Port Vale fan, League One team. Wow. My question to you, Tom. I don't get a lot of League One fans here. But my question to you is, how did you end up supporting Port Vale? But it actually came off Rico Lewis, that Pulisic opportunity. Pulisic now with a corner down the left-hand side. Whips the ball in towards the middle. Headed away by Diaz. Is going to fall to Cucurella. Back to Pulisic. Pulisic holds on to it. Palmer's defending. Goes on his right foot. Goes back on his left. Lays it into Cucurella. Palmer comes back to defend. Puts it into Hall. Hall into Kovacic. Kovacic holds on to it here with Koulibaly. Cucurella couldn't keep it in play and it goes out for a goal kick on this left-hand side. Best team in the world. Are they really? Graham Potter lost 6 of 7 meetings versus Manchester City as a Brighton manager. Ball goes all the way back to Mendy on this right-hand side. And he'll start the game back off. Koulibaly now with the ball. Lays it into Cucurella. Back to Koulibaly. Koulibaly holds the ball up all the way back to Mendy on this right-hand side. Mendy. Long kick out from the back. And it's headed on by Loftus-Cheek, but Ziyech is on the same wavelength. It goes out for a Manchester City throw-in. 14 minutes into the game, Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0 here on Couch Sports Football. Ladies and gentlemen, football fans around the world, how are we doing? What do we think of the football season so far? How are Port Vale doing in the league? Tom Ortega, now the ball on the left hand. That sounds like a Pokemon. Ortega. Jack Grealish brought down there by Dennis Zakaria. It's a free kick here on this left-hand side. Gundogan lays it into Diaz. Back to Gundogan. Brozier applying the pressure into Rodri on the centre circle. Good play there by Kovacic. Lays it into Pulisic. Pulisic turns. He's got Brozier to his right, but Pulisic drives into the box. He holds on to it. He's got hold to his left. He tries to go on his own, but it's blocked. It falls to Grealish, and he brings Mahrez into it. And it's now Gundogan bringing the ball for Dennis Zakaria. It's all over him, but he manages to find a pass to Alvarez down that left-hand side. 1-on-1 against Chalobah. Alvarez here for Manchester City. Back to Gundogan on the edge of the box. Lays it into Palmer. Palmer on his left foot takes a shot, but it's blocked by Koulibaly, and that's taken the power out of the shot, and it goes all the way back to the keeper. City moving from back to front with ease. That midfield is struggling for Chelsea. Here we go with Chelsea on the ball with Hall. Goes backwards to Cucurella. Cucurella into Koulibaly. Koulibaly now into Chalobah. Chalobah comes back to Koulibaly on this right-hand side. Cucurella over the top in towards Armando Brozier. Has he got the better of Diaz? It looks like he has, but the referee's pulled it back for a free kick there. Claims for a hand on him. The free kick is given. Here we go with Laporte into Gomez down the left-hand side. Laporte, who seems to be struggling here, Aymeric Laporte. Diaz seems to be struggling there. He's holding on to his chest. Rodri on the centre circle. To Gundogan, into Jack Grealish, coming deep to pick up the ball, trying to dig the play, Jack Grealish. This is what he liked to do at Aston Villa. Is he going to be able to do it at Manchester City? Riyad Mahrez finds the pass into Grealish, who's brought down on the edge of the box by Koulibaly. That's going to be a yellow card, surely. Surely that's a yellow card. And did the ref just say F off to Cucurella? Did the ref just swear at Cucurella? Free kick on the edge of the box. It's just a yellow card. Great interplay there by Mahrez, Grealish and Palmer. That is a free kick. It's the right decision. Free kick for Manchester City on the edge of the box here. No Kevin De Bruyne, but they have Gundogan and Jack Grealish. Let's see who's going to take it. Looks like Jack Grealish is the man that's going to be taking his free kick. You can see where it is. Mahrez and Gundogan there, and Jack Grealish. Kovacic on the floor. Mahrez, Gundogan and Grealish all lining this one up. It's Gundogan over the wall and it's over. and goes out for a corner on that left hand side. Just comes off Chalaba's head. Corner on that left hand side for Manchester City. Jack Grealish gone over to take it. Headed away by Armando Broja on the near post. And it goes out for a throw-in. First time into Gundogan, all the way back to Ortega on this left hand side. Gundogan bringing it forward here for Manchester City. Into Rodri on the halfway line. Lays it into Gomez on the left hand side. He's got Palmer and Grealish ahead of him, but he goes into Grealish. Grealish holding the ball up backwards to Gundogan. Gundogan into Rodri. Rodri back to Gundogan. Rodri takes it in his stride. Into Mahrez out to this Rico Lewis on the right hand side. First time in towards that back post. Gundogan will try and keep it in play, but he can't. It goes out for a goal kick and a better pass by Rico Lewis. And City might have been in there 19 minutes into the game. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0 here on Card Sports Football. John Stones, Kevin De Bruyne, Akanji, Ake, Edison, Calvin Phillips, Foden and Haaland all on the bench. Mahrez finds himself in the box but is blocked and the deflection nearly caught Mendy off guard, but he manages to hold on to the ball and Chelsea now start the game back off here on this right hand side. Mistake there by Hall, losing it out of possession and allows Manchester City back into the game. Here we go with Dennis Zakaria. Lays it into Pulisic. Pulisic driving with the ball. He's got Armando Broja to his left, but he goes out to the right side towards Loftus-Cheek. Ziyech with the shot from this, but it comes off the defender and it goes out for a corner for Chelsea down that right hand side. Chelsea and Manchester City game starts to get a bit end to end when both teams are attacking like they are. Ziyech going for glory. Maybe had a better option in the cross, but he went for glory and it's found its way out for a corner. What is Gomez doing against Loftus-Cheek? Headed away by Palmer on the corner. Back to Ziyech. Ziyech on his left foot puts it in there. But it's straight at Ortega. And it goes all the way back to the keeper. Laporte out to Gomez down that left hand side. Gomez into Grealish. Grealish holds the ball up. And he goes backwards to Laporte. Laporte seems to have shrugged off that chest that he was holding before. Rodri bringing the ball forward now here. Lays it into Gomez. Gomez into... Oh, gets away from Loftus-Cheek. He's got Grealish to his left and he finds him. Grealish one-on-one against Chalobah. He holds onto it. Goes around the outside of Loftus-Cheek. Lays it onto Gomez, but it's intercepted there by Chalobah and he'll now bring it forward into Broja. Broja does well to hold the ball up, but he loses it. The referee pulls it back for a free kick here on this right side. 22 minutes into the game. Cucurella into Pulisic to Kovacic, back to Cucurella, all the way back to Mendy on this right side. Mendy now for Chelsea. Into Koulibaly, to Cucurella. Lays it into Hall. Hall into Kovacic. Kovacic takes it in his stride and he brings it into Pulisic. Pulisic has Hall to his left. He has Broja through the middle. Ziyech on the right. And Loftus-Cheek. He goes on his own. Pulisic on his right foot. He takes a shot. And that's a great save there by the keeper, Ortega. A great save there by the keeper, Ortega. And Laporte's on the ground again. Holding onto his left leg, that is. And I feel like Pulisic had far too much time to decide what he wanted to do. And he decided to go on his own. He could have threaded it into Pulisic, but he decided to go on his own, and it's a great save by the keeper down that left-hand side. Laporte is back up on his feet here. Corner here for Chelsea down that right side. 23 minutes into the game. They are winning the game in height. Ball whipped in there by Ziyech. Punched away by Ortega. He comes out to Cucurella. Leaves it to Kovacic. Koulibaly will jump up with the keeper. And Ortega wins it. Ortega for Manchester City down this left-hand side. Into Laporte. Diaz now the ball. To Gundogan. Rodri on the left-hand side, bringing it forward into the centre circle. Lays it into Alvarez. Alvarez into Gomez. Gomez has got Grealish to that left and he finds it. Grealish now. Backwards to Gundogan. Rodri on the centre circle. Mahrez hasn't been in the game on this right-hand side. Trying to get himself into it. Grealish back to Gundogan. Gundogan into Grealish. He's got Gomez to his left. He holds on to it, Grealish. Backwards to Gundogan. City inching forward. Into Alvarez. Alvarez out to the right-hand side. Wow, turns away from Chelsea players. Lays it into Grealish. Grealish 1-on-1 against Loftus-Cheek. Into Gomez. Across the 6-yard box. Palmer's there. He didn't get a clear connection. And Hall manages to clear it away. And it goes out for a City throwing. Ortega now the ball here for Manchester City. 25 minutes into the game. Gomez on that left-hand side. Into Grealish. Grealish holding the ball up. Lays it into Rodri. Rodri out to the right side towards Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis 1-on-1 against Hall. Into Mahrez. Cucurella comes over to defend. Back to Lewis. Back to Mahrez. Mahrez being held up here. Goes backwards to Rodri. Rodri into Laporte. Laporte takes it in his stride. Out to Gomez on the left-hand side. 1-on-1 against Ziyech. He goes around the outside, but there's no one making the run across the 6-yard box. Erling Haaland is busting a gut again on that one if he's on the pitch. Koulibaly. Cucurella. Over the top there towards Broja. Diaz wins the header, but it falls to Pulisic, who's brought down by Rodri. The game carries on. Falls to Koulibaly. Grealish manages to win it. Hall gets away from Mahrez. And he goes all the way back to Mendy. Good play by the youngster Hall on the right-hand side. Chalobah. Backwards to Mendy. Mendy into Koulibaly. Cucurella. Threads it into Zakaria. To Pulisic, but it's good defending there by Palmer. Pulisic manages to win it back into Hall. Cucurella to Kovacic. Kovacic being pressed by Palmer. He goes backwards to Koulibaly. Into Cucurella. Into Kovacic. He turns. He's surrounded by Chelsea City players. Passes it to Pulisic. And Dennis Zakaria forces it out for a throw-in. Laporte into Gomez. Gomez into Alvarez. Out to the right side towards Rico Lewis. Is he going to keep it in play? No, he won't. It goes out for a Chelsea throwing. Just over 15 minutes of the 45 to go plus added time, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Corner here for Manchester City into Mahrez. Heads it towards the far post. And Mendes catches it out the sky. And here for Hugo Chelsea. Can they capitalise? No, they can't. Gundogan wins the ball from the kick out from the keeper. And it falls to Rodri. Rodri into Palmer. Palmer holds onto the ball. Lays it into Rodri. Alvarez. Into Grealish. 1-on-1 against Loftus-Cheek. Goes round the outside. Comes back inside. Tries to feed it into Palmer. It's intercepted. Palmer manages to win the ball back. But Chelsea have it now with Loftus-Cheek down the right side. And he'll lay it into Ziyech. Ziyech now with the ball. Into Pulisic. Pulisic can't take it in his stride. Makes his way to Rico Lewis. And City start the game back off with Diaz. Rodri now in the centre circle. Gomez. To Grealish. Back to Gomez. Rodri on the halfway line. Backwards to Diaz. Palmer. Rodri. Comes out to the right-hand side towards Rico Lewis. City having a lot of pleasure down that left-hand side. Can they emulate that down the right-hand side? Let's find out with Riyad Mahrez. Pulisic back defending. Mahrez into Lewis. Lewis back to Mahrez. Into Gundogan. Diaz into Laporte. Leaves it to Grealish. 1-on-1 against Dennis Zakaria. Lays it on his right foot. Gets a pass one. Gets past two. Lays it into Rodri. On his right foot. Puts it into Rico Lewis. Across the 6-yard box. And again, no one's busting a gut to get themselves on the end. Rico Lewis and Gomez could have had an assist today. But that just shows when you don't have an out-and-out striker on the pitch. Palmer and Alvarez not busting a gut to get there. And it goes all the way out. Manchester City have a free kick down that left-hand side. 31 minutes into the game. It's 0-0 so far. Not in a position to shoot. But can they cross something? Mahrez takes it on his left foot towards the back post. Laporte was waiting, but it's headed away. And it comes out to Armando Broja here. Cleared away by Hope. Pulisic will leave it to Lewis. Kovacic tries to get there, but it falls to the Chelsea player, and it's holding out the ball over the top there towards Broja. Can he get there behind? No, he can't. Ortega's high off his line, and it goes out for a throwing here. Arsenal 1-1 against Brighton. All the other games are 0-0. Southampton losing 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. West Ham have managed to equalise against Blackburn 1-1. Koulibaly now the ball. Spreads it out to that right side towards Loftus-Cheek. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he does. Control wasn't the best, but he manages to hold on to the ball. Chalobah into Loftus-Cheek down that right side. He's got Ziyech ahead of him. And Dennis Zakaria alongside him. He puts it into Ziyech. Ziyech holds the ball up. Chalobah into Koulibaly. Spreads it out to that right side towards Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek holds on to it. Is Ziyech onside? No, he's not. Here we go with Laporte now on the ball. Into Diaz. Diaz lays it into Rodri. Rodri out to the left-hand side. Finds Gomez. Gomez holding on to the ball here. Bringing it forward. Back to Rodri. Rodri lays it into Diaz. Diaz with his back to his own goal. Into Laporte. Rodri. Takes it in his stride. He brings the ball forward. Back to Gundogan. Into Palmer, who's got some space on the centre circle to bring the ball forward. He's got Alvarez and Mahrez ahead of him. He goes on his own into Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis again across the 6-yard box. No one's there. But Dennis Zakaria is headed away to Kovacic, and he brings Pulisic into play, who lays it into Hall. Hall now with the ball on the left-hand side, who tries to switch it out to Ziyech on the right. Has he got the pass right? Laporte is tracking back. And it goes out for a throwing, and that was a great ball there by the young lad Hall. Great bit of defending there by Laporte, but I don't feel Ziyech was running for that until it was too late. But here we go with Koulibaly into Cucurella. Back to Koulibaly. Goes out to that right side, but it falls to Gomez, and he lets it run all the way to Ortega on this left-hand side. Laporte now, Laporte. Into Diaz. Rodri turns. Goes out to the left-hand side. Gomez into Alvarez. Alvarez 1-on-1 against Chalobah. Loftus-Cheek is trying to get back. He goes on the outside, but it comes off Chalobah. And it goes all the way back to the keeper, Mendy. First time into Loftus-Cheek. Ziyech is ahead of him. Loftus-Cheek holds onto the ball here. Couple of step overs. Goes backwards to Chalobah. Chalobah into Koulibaly. Cucurella. Hall. Gets away from Rico Lewis, and he drives with the ball. Young lad Hall bringing it forward, but brought down there by Palmer. And it's going to be a free kick for Chelsea on the right side. And that is probably the only player, Pulisic and Palmer, the only ones that are trying to drive with the ball forward. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0 with Koulibaly. All the way back to the keeper, Mendy. Mendy out to that right side into Ziyech. Ziyech turns, brings the ball forward. Loftus-Cheek to his right. Brozier through the middle. Ziyech goes on his own. Gundogan comes back to defend, puts it into Zakaria, into Kovacic. Kovacic into Cucurella. Cucurella lays it into Hall. Hall has Pulisic to his left, but he goes back to Cucurella. Cucurella into Pulisic, Brozier and Ziyech in the box, but he goes back to Cucurella. Here we go with Kovacic. All the way back to Koulibaly. Chalobah into Koulibaly. Cucurella down the right side. Tries to put it in behind to Pulisic. Pulisic turns. He's got Brozier ahead of him. Can he find the pass? He goes on his own. Pulisic lays it into Brozier. Brozier 1-on-1 against Laporte. Goes on the inside. Laporte does well to put a body in there. So does Diaz. And it falls to Rodri. And Man City will now come away with it here with Rico Lewis. Brought down by Kovacic, free kick. Just under 10 minutes of the 45 to go plus any time. Laporte now, Laporte. On this left-hand side. Into Palmer. Palmer back to Diaz. You can see that block of 5 for Chelsea when they're defending. When Ziyech and Pulisic push back into midfield. Laporte into Grealish on that left-hand side. Goes backwards to Laporte. Here we go with Diaz. Diaz on the centre circle. Tries to feed it into Rodri. But Koulibaly is there and it falls to Pulisic. But he can't make it count. Can Ziyech get on the end of it? No, he can't. The referee's going to put it back the other way, and it's a free kick here for Manchester City. How are we all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Boys and girls, football pundits around the world. Just so you guys know, if it stays 0-0, it goes out to a penalty shootout. Riyad Mahrez on the ball here. Can he spark this City into life? Gundogan. To Laporte. Grealish. 1-on-1 against Loftus-Cheek. Forced backwards into Laporte on the halfway line. Laporte into Diaz. Diaz on the centre circle. with Rodri. Here we go with Kovacic. Laporte now the ball here. Gets away from Broja. Ortega first time into Rodri, and Rodri turns with some space for Manchester City on the centre circle, bringing it forward. Out to Palmer. Palmer has Mahrez ahead of him and Lewis to his right. Palmer goes on his own. He's waiting for Lewis to make the run, but Lewis now has the ball here. Rodri into Gundogan on the centre. Gundogan out to the right side, finds Rico Lewis, back to Mahrez. Hole goes over to pressure. Mahrez into Gundogan. Gundogan into Rodri, but he slips. Kovacic has the ball now. It's Pulisic back to Hall. Back to Pulisic. Tries the back heel to Hall, but it falls to Rodri, and it's Grealish now the ball. Bringing it forward here for Manchester City. Koulibaly's defending. He goes down that left-hand side to Gomez. Gomez holding the ball up here. Into Grealish. Gets away from Ziyech. And he goes all the way back to Diaz on the centre circle. 5 minutes of the 45 to go plus added time. Is Manchester City nil, Chelsea nil. Manchester City creating the better chances. Ball threaded into Alvarez here. Koulibaly's defending goes out to Gomez on the left hand side. Loftus-Cheek goes over to defend. And it falls to Laporte. Gundogan tries to thread it into Alvarez. Does well to hold on to the ball. Into Gundogan. Into Grealish on the edge of the box. Takes a shot on his right foot. As Mendy comes down to his left. And he makes the save, and it goes out for a corner down that right side. Corner here for Chelsea. Manchester City with 4 minutes to go. Riyad Mahrez to take it. Takes it short into Gundogan. Gundogan back to Riyad Mahrez on this right hand side. Puts it across the back post. But Mendy catches it out of the sky, and it's time for Chelsea to try and counter. But they just slow the game down here, and it allows City to get back into position. Cucurella now. All the way back to Mendy on this right side. Mendy into Chalobah. Chalobah out to that right side. Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek holds onto it into Zakaria. Pulisic. Can't get away from Rodri. Goes out for a Chelsea throwing. Loftus-Cheek now back to Chalobah. All the way back to the keeper, Mendy. Mendy now. Into Koulibaly. Cucurella. To Dennis Hall. Back to Cucurella. Lays into Kovacic. Kovacic into Broja. But he's behind Broja. Can Diaz get there? Yes, he does. And it's time for City to start the game back off here. Grealish. Rodri into Mendy's hands. It's Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall. Here we go with Mendy on the right side. Out to our right side towards Loftus-Cheek, but it falls to Gomez into Grealish. One-on-one against Chalobah. He goes down the left, tries to put it across the middle, but it's blocked off the defender. And it falls to Mendy first time into Pulisic. Here we go with Ziyech. He's got Pulisic to his left hand, Broja. He lays it into Pulisic. Pulisic driving on his own. Out to Hall on his left hand side. Lewis Hall takes. Oh, and he puts him on a plate. He puts him on a plate, but he can't score the goal. The young lad Hall. Lewis Hall there nearly put Rico Lewis out of the stadium. It's going to fall to Alvarez on the halfway line. Palmer Holding on to it here, just slowing the game down. Into Rodri. To Gundogan. Back to Rodri. Alvarez can't get there, and it's going to fall to Loftus-Cheek. Tries to thread it into Broja, but he can't find the pass to Ziyech. And it goes out for a Manchester City throwing down the left-hand side. And guys, that was a big opportunity for the young lad Hall. He cuts it in on his right foot and he takes a shot, but it's straight at the keeper. He kind of scuffs the shot, really. He doesn't get the shot off properly. And he just rolls it straight at the keeper instead of going for a corner. Could have made it 1-0 Chelsea, the young lad. Here we go with Gundogan on the ball. Into Rodri. Rodri tries to thread it, but it falls to Ziyech, and it's Kovacic now who's bringing the ball forward. He's got Broja to his left, and Pulisic, he's going on his own. Kovacic tries to find the pass to Pulisic, but Grealish is tracking back. And it's now Gomez. Laporte now with the ball. Into Gundogan. Puts it into Alvarez. Here we go with Gomez. Gundogan. Chelsea now getting a bit of momentum into the middle of the park. They're getting past the press. Rodri over the top. There towards Mahrez down the right side. Cucurella will go over to defend. 1 minute of added time, guys, here on Couch Sports Football. Mahrez backwards to Lewis. Lewis into Rodri. Rodri squares it to Gomez down the left-hand side. He's got Grealish ahead of him. Loftus-Cheek goes over to defend. Tries to thread it into Alvarez through the middle, but Koulibaly's there to intercept. Chalobah will try and flick it on, but it's Gomez now. Into Grealish down the left-hand side. 1-on-1 against Loftus-Cheek. Goes round the outside this time. Brought down. The referee's going to pull it back for a free kick there. And I think Grealish went down really easily there. I think he went down before he even... Yeah, he's falling down before he's even gone to touch the ball there. I think he's fallen down very easily there. Grealish. Kovacic goes over to talk to the ref. So does Ziyech. Gundogan and I think it's Gomez stepping over this free kick on that left-hand side. In a very dangerous position. Left chance, headed away by Loftus-Cheek. Pulisic can't get there. The referee blows for half-time here on Couch Sports Football. Chelsea really dominating in that half, but the opportunity fell to the young lad Lewis Hall, who just couldn't put it past the keeper. He put Rico Lewis on the ground, put him on a play out of the stadium, but he couldn't get it on target. Past the keeper, and it goes out for the keeper. And guys, it's 0-0 here on Couch Sports Football. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0 in this League Cup, Carabao Cup, sorry. I will see you for the second half, so stay tuned, guys. How we doing, guys? Second half here on Card Sports Football as we get ready for this League Cup tie. Manchester City taking on Chelsea. No changes at half time. Chelsea with the bigger opportunity falling to the young lad, Lewis Hall. Unfortunately, couldn't take it in his stride. Manchester City putting balls on a plate, but no one's there to eat it up. Let's see what they can do in the second half. Chalobah leaves it to Mendy on this left-hand side. Cucurella into Hall. Kovacic to Pulisic to Hall. Gets away from Rico Lewis again. Tries to feed it into Kovacic, but it's over here. And the referee pulls it back for a free kick here for Chelsea on this left-hand side. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. I'm just going to check some guys. 1 second. Is that too high? Is that too high? This way? I think that's better. Here we go with Laporte on the ball on the right side. Gomez tries to feed it into Alvarez. Palmer does well to keep the ball alive. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he does. And it goes out for a City throwing down this left-hand side. Man City 0. Chelsea 0 here on Couch Sports Football. Is that better? I think that's better. Loftus-Cheek threads into Chalobah, into Mendy, Mendy into Koulibaly, out to the left-hand side finds Cucurella. Now Cucurella has some space to bring the ball forward. He's got Hall to his left and he goes towards him. Hall now with the ball. Backwards to Cucurella. Into Kovacic. Kovacic on the halfway line. Mahrez battling with him. Kovacic does well to hold on to it. He's surrounded by City players. And he loses it to Alvarez. Alvarez has Mahrez to his right and Grealish to his left. He goes into Mahrez. He gets away from Koulibaly. But Cucurella does brilliantly well there to stop Mahrez getting onto his left foot. And it falls to Lewis Hall now on this left-hand side. Threads it in behind to Armando Broja. Diaz is there. Broja holds on to it. Can't keep it in play. Goes out for a corner down the left-hand side. And that's Cucurella tracking back beautifully. Kovacic running himself into danger. Alvarez picks the ball up. He's got Mahrez to his right and he feeds him. Gets past Koulibaly, but Cucurella just puts a touch in there and gets the ball. Good defending there by Chelsea. Here we go with Gundogan now in the centre circle. Backwards to Rodri on this right-hand side. Rodri into Mahrez. Mahrez holds on to the ball. Lays it into Gundogan. Backwards to Rodri on the halfway line. Rodri now bringing the ball forward. Alvarez, Palmer, Grealish ahead of him. Goes into Gundogan. Tries to feed it into Grealish, but Loftus-Cheek is there. The free kick's given. Calvin Phillips and Bernardo Silva coming on here for Manchester City. Pulisic now the ball into Hall. Backwards to Cucurella. Mendy. Out to the right side. Loftus-Cheek. Can't keep it in play. Goes out for a City throw-in. So looks like it's going to be Gundogan coming off here for Bernardo Silva. And Rodri coming off here. So Rodri and Gundogan coming off here for Bernardo Silva and Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips putting his injury issues behind him. Can he get himself into the England squad? Bernardo Silva now to Paul. Turns in the Chelsea half, bringing it forward. Lays it into Gomez. Gomez back to Laporte. Diaz. Out wide to Rico Lewis. Back to Diaz. Bernardo Silva on the centre circle. Turns. Lays it into Laporte. Laporte bringing the ball forward. Out to Gomez on this left-hand side. Gomez gets away from Loftus-Cheek and he's bringing it forward. Lays it into Bernardo Silva. Out to Grealish. One-on-one against Chalobah on the edge of the box down this left-hand side. He goes on the right. He takes a curling shot. It's blocked. It comes out to Mahrez on his right foot. Goes on the outside. Lewis Hall does well and he forces the corner. Corner down his right-hand side for Chelsea. Falls to Mahrez on his right foot. Takes a shot and is blocked. Falls to Rico Lewis. Here we go with Bernardo Silva. Back to Lewis. Out wide to Mahrez. Mahrez takes it in his stride. Bringing the ball forward. Goes on the left of Zakaria and Koulibaly's brought down. And that's a free kick. And that's going to be a yellow card for Chalobah. And I think Riyad Mahrez wants this one. I think Riyad Mahrez wants this one. On the edge of the box. Laporte, Grealish. Laporte stepped away from this one. I didn't think he was going to take it. Riyad Mahrez looks to be the one that's lining it up. So is Jack Grealish. Gundogan took it in the first half and it just went over. Jack Grealish still stepping over this. Is it going to be the right foot or the left foot? Let's find out. Grealish or... It looks like Riyad Mahrez is taking it up and over into the back of the net. And it's Riyad Mahrez who makes it 1-0 here on Couch Sports Football. Beautifully taken free kick. What a start for Pep Guardiola in the second half. Mendy was shouting at his wall for something. Let's have a look at that free kick again. Riyad Mahrez. Oh, and it's just... I think it goes through Koulibaly not jumping up for that one. He just stands there watching it. And it just goes over Koulibaly's head. What is he doing there? Riyad Mahrez with the first goal here on Couch Sports Football. Riyad Mahrez. Here we go with Loftus-Cheek goes around the back post, but is punched away by Ortega. Goes out for a corner on that left-hand side. Corner on that left-hand side for Chelsea. Can they get themselves back into this game? It comes off Ziyech and he skies it. That was a good opportunity there for Hakim Ziyech. And he couldn't get it on target. He's not had a good game today. Leaning back when he takes the shot. Just slices through the ball. Doesn't get his foot behind it at all. He just skies it and he goes out for a goal kick. Ortega now to start the game back up. Long kick out from the back. Can't reach Riyad Mahrez. It goes out for a Chelsea throw it. Cucurella to take it. Koulibaly lays it into Cucurella on that left-hand side, bringing the ball forward. Spreads it out to this right-hand side. Can he find Pulisic? Leaves it into Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek driving the ball, goes on the outside of Gomez. Holds the ball up here. Back to Ziyech. Ziyech goes around the outside, cuts back in on his left, puts it into Loftus-Cheek, puts it towards Pulisic, but Pulisic is ball watching. Palmer takes the ball off him. And the referee pulls it back for a free kick, and it's Grealish now to pull on the halfway line. Lays it into Chalobah. Alvarez is there. 1-on-1 against Koulibaly. Spreads it out beautifully to Riyad Mahrez on the right side, who controls it in his stride. 1-on-1 left foot. Oh, and Alvarez is there on the back post. Mendy had the save, but it's Alvarez who makes it 2-0. And that was a beautiful switch of play down this left-hand side by Alvarez. Riyad Mahrez, calm and collective. On his left foot, he controls it. And oh, what a beautiful switch that was, guys. 2-0 here on Cat Sports Football. Now the heavens have opened. Two 0 guys. Is the game done? Alvarez now with 7 goals in 8 games for Manchester City. You gotta give him credit, man. You gotta give him credit. He's picked up his. Question is, what's he gonna do, Graham Potter? Big opportunity for Lewis Dunk in the first half, and he doesn't take it. Two 0 in quick succession. Gomez Lays it into Palmer. He turns, gets away from Zachariah. He's got Koulibaly. He takes a shot down the left. Koulibaly punches it away. It falls to Grealish one-on-one against Chalobah. Goes on the outside in the box. Lays it on a plate to Calvin Phillips, who's urged to shoot. Squares it to Bernardo Silva into Palmer. Here we go with Gomez. Back to Bernardo Silva. Into Calvin Phillips. Laporte. Calvin Phillips. Into Palmer. Gomez. Goes backwards. Ruben Diaz now with the ball on this right hand side. Bringing it forward. Lays it into Bernardo Silva on the centre circle. Bernardo Silva. Into Calvin Phillips. Backwards to Laporte. Laporte bringing it forward. Out wide to Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez has got Rico Lewis to his right and he goes towards Enrico. Backwards to Calvin Phillips. Spreads it out to this left hand side towards Gomez. Headed away by Loftus-Cheek. And it's Grealish who's going to pick the ball up here on this right hand side. Grealish now. Bringing the ball forward. Gets away from Ziyech. Gets away from Kovacic. Goes backwards to Calvin Phillips and it's Diaz now in the centre circle. In the second half, 7 shots for Manchester City, 5 on target. Chelsea with 2 and 0 on target. Here we go with Laporte now. Bernardo Silva to Calvin Phillips on the centre circle. Out to that right side is Riyad Mahrez. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can. But he's offside. Mendy into Chalobah. To Loftus-Cheek. First time in towards Ziyech. Ziyech gets away from Bernardo Silva into Loftus-Cheek. Good play there by Chelsea to get out of their own half. Out to the left-hand side towards Lewis Hall. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he does. Goes backwards to Cucurella. Lays it into Kovacic. Kovacic can't get away from Palmer. He puts it into Dennis Zachariah. He goes back to Koulibaly. And it's now Cucurella on the ball. Hall to Kovacic. Backwards to Cucurella. Dennis Zachariah. Brought down by Bernardo Silva. Free kick Chelsea. First time into Broja. Broja's got Pulisic to his left. He holds on to it. Comes out to Loftus-Cheek on the right side. Loftus-Cheek takes it in his stride. He puts it on a plate to Ziyech. Ziyech keeps it in play and he gets away from Gomez into the box here. Across the middle to Dennis Hall. And he can't get it on target. That's 2 big opportunities there for the young lad, Lewis Hall. 2 big opportunities for Lewis Hall in this game. He could have had a brace. Gomez is put to sleep there by Ziyech. And it goes out for a corner. Headed away by Diaz. Headed away by Alvarez. Comes out to Ziyech. Ziyech on his left foot. Blocked. Comes out to Kovacic. Wins the header and it falls to Hall. And it goes all the way back to Mendy. But the referee's going to put it back for a free kick here. 63 minutes into the game. Manchester City, New Chelsea, 0. Ortega now the ball on the right hand side. Into Bernardo Silva. Bringing it forward here for Manchester City and he puts it into Diaz. Diaz now with the ball. Into Mahrez. Calvin Phillips. Into Bernardo Silva on the centre circle. Walks away from Broja and he puts it into Laporte. Laporte now bringing it forward. Into Grealish. Backwards. to Bernardo Silva, into Laporte. Can he switch it? He goes backwards to Diaz. Bernardo Silva now. All the way back to Ortega. City happy with just having the ball now. 65th minute here. Lewis to Calvin Phillips. Out to this left-hand side is Gomez. Gomez now bringing the ball forward. Laporte. Phillips on the halfway line. Into Bernardo Silva. Diaz out to that right side finds Mahrez. Mahrez now coming deep to pick up the ball, and he's woken up in this second half. Lewis back to Mahrez. Back to Lewis. Here we go with Calvin Phillips to Bernardo Silva to Lewis to Silva. Calvin Phillips, City moving the ball about with pace. Bernardo Silva to Phillips to Mahrez on the right side. Mahrez onto Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva holding the ball up here on this left-hand side for Manchester City. Falls into Mahrez. Mahrez lays it into Bernardo Silva. He holds onto the ball here. All 10 outfield players for Chelsea behind the ball. Out wide to Lewis. Bernardo Silva. Palmer spins away from Kovacic, but he can't get away from Dennis, and it falls to Pulisic, who gets away from Calvin Phillips, but he can't get away from Bernardo Silva. And he now brings the ball forward, lays it into Grealish, and he's got Ziyech manning on, coming forward. Grealish on his own, on his right foot, gets away from the defenders, but he can't score the goal. It comes out to Riyad Mahrez on his left foot, towards the back post, heading away by Loftus-Cheek. It falls to Bernardo Silva. Ziyech is tracking back. And it's Chalobah who'll just clear it away. Diaz now with the ball. Into Riyad Mahrez. Grealish. Phillips out to the left-hand side finds Gomez, who's had a great game today. Grealish can't get away from Dennis Zakaria. And it goes out for a throwing on this left-hand side. It's a 4 substitution here. Ziyech for Sterling. Brozier for Gallagher. Chalobah. Mason Mount. Let's have a look at those substitutions. Chalobah for Azpilicueta, Dennis Zakaria for Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher for Brozier, and Sterling for Ziyech. Man City 2, Chelsea 0, 68th minute. Can Chelsea get themselves back into this game? Diaz now with the ball. All the way back to the keeper. Lewis on the right side. Gets the better of Kovacic. Can't get the better of Cucurella, and he goes out for a throwing. Here we go with Gomez. All the way back to Laporte, into Diaz. All the way back to the keeper, Ortega, who's made some great saves today. Diaz can't keep it. Falls to Lewis. Lewis, first time into Calvin Phillips, takes it on his turn. Mahrez over the top to Palmer. Palmer can't get away from Koulibaly. And it's Pulisic now. One of the ball, Calvin Phillips. Palmer into Grealish. Grealish got Alvarez to his left and he drives with the ball. He's got Gomez ahead of him, but he can't find the pass. Azpilicueta is there. And he's going to fall to Mason Mount here, who just runs himself out of play. And it goes out for a throwing on this left-hand side for Man City. 70th minute into the game. Alvarez. Gomez. Loses it. Falls to Gallagher. Into the middle. Finds Mason Mount. Mason Mount in the centre circle into Cucurella. Cucurella got a hold to his left and Sterling ahead of it. Goes into hole. Backwards to Cucurella on the halfway line. On the 71st minute to Koulibaly. To Gallagher. Back to Koulibaly. Cucurella. Over the top to Sterling. Calvin Phillips with the header. Falls to Lewis. Lewis has got two Chelsea players on him. Tries to find the pass to Mahrez, but it falls behind him. And it goes all the way back to Mendy on this left-hand side. Koulibaly now the ball. Kovacic. Losing the battle to Palmer here, but Palmer can't get the ball. And it's Mendy who starts the game back off out to this right side. It's Loftus-Cheek. Goes backwards to Azpilicueta. Mendy clears the ball down the line. Sterling controls it beautifully, but he's brought down there by Diaz, and it's a free kick here on this left-hand side. Loftus-Cheek now the ball. Into Gallagher on the halfway line. Koulibaly on the centre circle. To Cucurella. Gallagher. Back to Cucurella. Kovacic into Koulibaly. Chelsea can't get out their own half here. Koulibaly does well to turn away from Alvarez. Cucurella now. Into Mason Mount on the halfway line. Mason Mount turns. Out to the right side is Pulisic. Loftus-Cheek now bringing the ball forward. 1-on-1 against the defender. He goes on his own. Puts it into Mason Mount. He takes a shot and it's wide. But the offside is given and Ortega didn't know about that. Ortega didn't know about that. He made a save there, Ortega. What a performance there by the... Yeah, he's offside, Pulisic. And he's glad that he's not hit it on target. Saved there by Ortega. Ortega starts the game back off here with 17 minutes to go. Koulibaly leaves it. Cucurella will charge this down. Mendy's cleared away, comes off Grealish. Havertz looks to be coming on here for Chelsea. For Pulisic. Azpilicueta into Mason Mount. Can't find Sterling. Gomez goes all the way back to Ortega. Ortega now the ball. Over the top. Grealish heads it into Gomez. Gomez on the right side. Laporte all the way back to Ortega. Ortega into Calvin Phillips. Can't take it. Kovacic lays into Gallagher. Gallagher into Sterling. Sterling on the edge of the box here. He's got Hull to his left. And he goes towards him. Hall across the 6-yard box. Defended by Rico Lewis. And Ortega just catches it out of the sky. And everything's going to be... Every time he touches the ball, Ortega, he's going to be celebrated here. Here we go with Azpilicueta now with the ball. Into Gallagher. Loses it to Bernardo Silva. And that might be a yellow card there by... on Bernardo Silva. But the referee is not having it. Yeah, it's Havertz coming on here for Hall. Havertz coming on for Hall. So Lewis Hall comes off and Kai Havertz comes on. So what's he doing? Is he putting Pulisic down the left? Cucurella now the ball. Koulibaly into Mount. Out wide to Loftus-Cheek. 1-on-1 against Gomez. Goes backwards. Azpilicueta to Kovacic. Kovacic on the halfway line. Threads it into Sterling. Bernardo Silva tracking back. And it goes all the way back to the keeper. Just so you guys know, I will be back tomorrow live where we have Manchester United taking on Aston Villa. After what happened on the weekend, that's a game that everyone needs to be watching. 15 minutes of the 90 to go. Azpilicueta now on the touchline. Loftus-Cheek spins away from Gomez. Lays it into Havertz. Backwards to Cucurella. Pulisic. Back to Cucurella. Kovacic. Koulibaly. Mason Mount on the halfway line. Into Loftus-Cheek on the right side. Holds onto the ball. 1-on-1 against the defender across the 6-yard box. Cleared away by Laporte. Bernardo Silva tries to feed Alvarez, but he's offside. Mount tries to feed it into Havertz. It goes out for a Chelsea throwing down that left-hand side. Loftus-Cheek now. Mount. Back to Loftus-Cheek. He goes backwards to Azpilicueta into Gallagher. Gallagher lays it into Mason Mount. Mason Mount holding onto the ball here. Can't get away from Calvin Phillips. It falls to Kovacic. Here we go with Cucurella. Into Havertz. Havertz on the edge of the box. Turns. He spins. He shoots. And it goes wide. Blackburn Rovers have equalised. 2-2. With Diaz. Ortega now to start the game back off here. Cucurella into Pulisic. Pulisic back to Cucurella. Into Gallagher. Backwards to Azpilicueta. Out to this right side. Finds Havertz. Over the top by Mason Mount into Sterling, but Ortega's off his line. And he'll just clear it away. Koulibaly gets there, but it falls to Riyad Mahrez. Lays it into Alvarez, but Koulibaly's chucking back. And Chelsea managed to come away with it. Koulibaly into Havertz. Havertz holding the ball up here. Gallagher on the halfway line. Out to this right side is Loftus-Cheek. Back to Gallagher. Holding on to it. Back to Azpilicueta. Kovacic. Azpilicueta. Koulibaly. Into Cucurella. Pulisic. 1-on-1 against Rico Lewis. Back heel to Havertz. Pulisic bringing the ball forward. He's got Gallagher to his right. Is he going to go towards him? And in the end, it goes to a wasted opportunity. And that's been Pulisic all day. Pulisic has been shocking all day. Koulibaly's ball watching here, but he manages to head it back to the keeper. And Mendy. But yeah, guys, Pulisic has been shocking today. Cucurella. All the way back to Gallagher on the centre circle. Turns. Floats it out to the shrine side. Is Loftus-Cheek. Can he keep it in play? No, he can't. It goes out for a City throwing. Just over 10 minutes of the 90 to go plus at a time. And it looks like Laporte's going to be coming off here for Nathan Ake. Okay, now, man. I'm fucking yawning away here. What is going on? So Nathan Ake coming on here. Bernardo Silva will clear it away. Alvarez will charge it down, but Koulibaly wins the header. Azpilicueta takes it under control, but he loses it to Grealish, and it falls to Alvarez. Bernardo Silva now report. Backwards to Diaz on the halfway line. Diaz now bringing it forward. Lays it into Rico Lewis. Palmer looks to like Palmer, Rico Lewis are going to be playing the full 90 minutes here, and Gomez. Ake into Grealish. Gomez making the run off the ball. He's running against Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek is taller than him. He'll try and brush him off the ball, but Gomez does well to hold on to it. And it goes back to Grealish. Ake. All the way back to Ortega. And it's now Rico Lewis on the ball. Diaz. To Ake. Calvin Phillips lays it into Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva now bringing the ball forward. Backwards to Ake. Ake into Bernardo Silva. Gallagher goes over to press him. Bernardo Silva holds onto the ball. He gets away from him. Lays it into Calvin Phillips, and he goes back to Ortega just to slow the game down. Ake now the ball. Into Ortega. Ortega on his right foot clears it away. Mahrez will try and charge this down, but Cucurella will let that go out for a throw-in. Taken first time into Mendy with 82 minutes on the clock. 8 minutes of the 90 to go. What are the other scores? Let's see what the other scores are. 3-1 Brighton, 2-0 Forest, 1-1 Southampton, 2-2 West Ham Blackburn. That looks like that's going to penalties. 0-0 Liverpool Derby. That looks like that's going to penalties. Havertz into Pulisic on that left-hand side. Pulisic back to Havertz. Havertz has got Sterling across the middle, but he just couldn't get there. And it goes out for a throwing on the right-hand side for Man City. I think Sterling was just blocked in that run. I think Diaz just did enough to stop. Oh, is it Ake? Ake just did enough there. Ted Bowley there. Chelsea chairman. What's he going to give Graham Potter? Kovacic. Pulisic. Cucurella. Kovacic. Back to Cucurella. Gallagher turns. He's got space. Kovacic. All the way back to Cucurella. 6.5 minutes to go. Are Chelsea ever going to score in this game? Oh, Gallagher spins away. Falls to Kovacic. Game carries on. Sterling. Backwards to Kovacic. Out to the right side is Azpilicueta. Can he get there ahead of Ake? Yes, he does. Lays it into Sterling. Sterling, oh, can't take it on his left foot. Falls to Azpilicueta. Back post is there. And Pulisic couldn't get there. 84 minutes on the clock. Most chances created per 90 this season. Christian Pulisic. Cucurella wins the header. Loftus-Cheek will clear it away. Rico Lewis and Pulisic battling for this one. Rico Lewis wins it. Mahrez to Lewis, but the referee pulls it back for a throwing. And oh, Rico Lewis there with the around the world pass to Cucurella. Koulibaly now. Loftus Cheek back to Koulibaly. Kovacic. Koulibaly. Back to the keeper Mendy. Aspilicueta with the header on. Sterling will try and get the end of it. Ake is there. So is Mason Mount, but Sterling holds on to it. Diaz flicks the ball. Falls to Conor Gallagher. Switches it out to Pulisic down the left hand side. Now Pulisic just couldn't control it. Mahrez to Lewis, loses it to Cucurella on the left hand side, lays it into Havertz. Havertz, goes backwards, it's behind Pulisic. Pulisic holds onto the ball here on the left hand side, into Cucurella. Cucurella passes it to no one and it falls to Grealish. And it goes out for a Chelsea throw-in. 86 minutes on the clock. Kovacic. Gallagher. Loftus-Cheek. Here we go with Aspilicueta. Has Loftus-Cheek gone into defence? Wow. Loftus-Cheek playing centre-back. Kovacic turns to Mason Mount. Mason Mount's got some space to bring it forward. He's got Sterling to his right, but he goes into Aspilicueta across the 6-yard box, and it's Ake with the header out for the corner. 3.5 minutes to go on the clock. The Chelsea players are shattered. Kovacic breathing. Gasping for air. Loftus-Cheek is also corner down the right side for Chelsea. Pulisic to take the corner. Headed away by Ake. Gallagher tries to take the shot. Falls to Mason Mount and it's wide. Goal kick on the right side for Manchester City. 2-0 here on Couch Sports Football. Grealish now. .88 minutes on the clock. Grealish and Aspilicueta having a word with the ref. It's going to be a yellow card for both of them. Tries to thread the pass to Havertz. Can he keep it in? Yes, he will. Havertz back to Pulisic. Pulisic down that left hand side and he's straight at the keeper. Headed away by Gomez. Sterling keeper with Ortega. Palmer and it's in the back of the net off an own goal. 89th minute. But the flag is up. The flag is up, guys. The flag is up. Chelsea there with a goal. 89th minute into the game. Manchester City 2, Chelsea 0 here on Couch Sports Football. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? Let's see. It falls to Havertz here on that left-hand side. He lays it into Pulisic. Pulisic puts the ball across the middle. Spilled away from Ortega. It falls to Sterling. Sterling takes a shot. Oh, yes, he was offside, Pulisic. Pulisic was offside there. Here we go with Cucurella on the ball on the left-hand side. Here over the top to Gomez. Gomez with the clearance. And it falls to Koulibaly. 4 minutes of added time to be played with Koulibaly on the ball here on this left-hand side for Chelsea. Chelsea bringing the ball forward. Lays it into Gallagher. Gallagher first time into Kovacic. Mahrez goes over to defend. Back to Koulibaly. Koulibaly lays it out to the left hand side towards Pulisic, but it's over everyone, and it falls to Rico Lewis. Lewis all the way back to Ortega. Ortega clears the ball down the line. Here we go with Grealish now in the centre circle. Pulled away. It falls to Palmer. Out to that right side is Morris. Into Palmer. Palmer lays it into Grealish. Grealish is in the box, but Gallagher does well. And it's Chelsea now to bring the ball forward. Lays it into Loftus-Cheek. Into Gallagher. Gallagher over the top there. Into Pulisic. Kai Havertz against Ake. Holds onto it backwards to Mount. Comes off Gallagher. Lays it into Aspilicueta. Across the middle to Sterling. But it's behind him and it falls to Palmer. And it's now Riyad Mahrez on the ball. Diaz to Calvin Phillips. Out to the left hand side is Grealish. Loftus-Cheek comes over. Yeah, Ortega deserves man of the match. He did some brilliant saves in this game. Rico Lewis. Surrounded by Pulisic. Does well to hold on to it. Jack Grealish given the player of the match. I think it's Rico. I think it's Ortega. I think it's Ortega. I think it's Ortega. 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 1, 2, 3, and Ortega. Ortega. One, two, three, on aboard the high train. Ake goes all the way back to Gomez. Gomez played well today as well. I gotta give it Gomez, Rico Lewis. Besides that one opportunity in the first half, and Palmer, they've played well today. Palmer now with the ball on the centre circle. Backwards to Lewis. Diaz to Bernardo Silva. 30 seconds left of the added time to be played. Chelsea 2-0 down here at the Etihad. Goals by Riyad Mahrez and Alvarez. Diaz all the way back to Ortega, the man of the match for me. Koulibaly brings the ball under control. Loftus-Cheek looks to be playing centre back. Loftus-Cheek, and that's that, guys. The referee has blown for full time. I appreciate any one of you that came by, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.